The day everyone believed she was gone began with a sky so heavy it felt like it might collapse onto the city itself. Black cars lined the marble steps of the largest private chapel in Northbridge, their polished surfaces reflecting grief, wealth, and secrets. Inside, a billionaire's funeral was underway, hushed voices echoing beneath towering ceilings, when a single, ordinary moment shattered everything. Just as the casket was about to be sealed forever, a garbage collector standing at the back of the hall screamed words that froze time itself. "She's not dead." And with that cry, a story buried under money, power, and pain clawed its way back into the light. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that one brave moment can change an entire life, please take a second to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this connect hearts across the world. The woman in the casket was named Eleanor Whitmore. To the world, she was a reclusive philanthropist and the quietly elegant wife of billionaire industrialist Jonathan Whitmore. To the media, she was a tragic figure whose life ended suddenly after a mysterious illness. To Jonathan, she was a chapter he believed was finally closed. But to a man named Samuel Carter, Eleanor Whitmore was something else entirely. She was the woman who once saved his life when no one else even noticed he existed. Samuel was a garbage collector, the kind of man people learned to look through rather than at. Every morning before dawn, he moved through the city streets in reflective gear, lifting what the world threw away. His life had been shaped by loss early on, and by years of invisibility that followed. But Samuel had a memory burned into him so deeply it never faded. Years earlier, on a freezing winter night, he had collapsed from exhaustion and hunger behind a luxury hotel. While hundreds of wealthy guests walked past, Eleanor Whitmore had stopped. She had knelt on cold pavement, wrapped her coat around his shaking body, and stayed until help arrived. She never gave her name, never asked for thanks. She only looked at him as if he mattered. That moment changed Samuel. It didn't make his life easy, but it gave him dignity. It gave him purpose. And it gave him the ability to recognize Eleanor when, months later, he saw her again under circumstances that made no sense at all. In the weeks before the funeral, Samuel had been assigned to collect waste near a private medical facility owned by the Whitmore Foundation. One night, while emptying sealed medical bins, he heard something that didn't belong there. A sound too soft, too human. When he looked closer, he saw a woman being moved on a stretcher, her face pale, her body unnaturally still, but her chest rising ever so slightly. He recognized her instantly. Eleanor. Her hair had been cut short, her skin bruised, but it was her. And she was alive. Before Samuel could react, security escorted him away with threats and warnings he had heard all his life. Men like him weren't supposed to see things like that. He tried to tell himself he was wrong. He tried to forget. But when news broke that Eleanor Whitmore had died suddenly, the truth slammed into him with terrifying clarity. Whatever was happening, it was deliberate. Jonathan Whitmore's grief was convincing to the public. He wore black, spoke softly, donated millions in Eleanor's name. But behind closed doors, his empire was cracking. Eleanor had been the conscience behind the fortune, the one who questioned where the money came from and where it went. She had begun investigating irregularities, secret accounts, and decisions that ruined lives while enriching balance sheets. When she threatened to expose everything, she became a liability. And liabilities, in Jonathan's world, were removed cleanly and quietly. Eleanor had been drugged, declared dead through falsified records, and hidden away until the world accepted her absence. The plan was simple. Bury her. Close the chapter. Move on. What Jonathan didn't plan for was a garbage collector who remembered kindness. As the funeral reached its final moments, Samuel stood near the exit, heart pounding so loudly it drowned out the organ music. He hadn't slept in days. He had gone to the police, to journalists, to anyone who would listen. No one believed him. Or worse, they warned him to stop. Standing there, surrounded by wealth that could erase him without consequence, Samuel knew this was his last chance. When the casket was moved forward, something inside him broke free of fear. His voice cut through the ceremony like a blade. People turned. Security rushed. But the damage was done. Panic rippled through the room. Doctors were summoned in confusion and outrage. The casket was opened again, and in the stunned silence that followed, someone noticed what Samuel had seen all along. Eleanor Whitmore was breathing. What followed was chaos. Cameras rolled. Guests whispered. Jonathan Whitmore's carefully built mask cracked, just for a second, but it was enough. Eleanor was rushed to a hospital, this time under public scrutiny. Toxicology reports revealed sedatives strong enough to mimic death. Medical records were re-examined. Names began to surface. Lies unraveled quickly when exposed to light. Eleanor survived, but her recovery was slow and painful. She had been held in a medically induced paralysis, aware at times but unable to move or speak. She remembered everything. And when she was strong enough, she told the truth. Not with anger, but with heartbreaking clarity. She spoke of betrayal, of fear, and of the moment she realized her life had become inconvenient to the men she loved. Jonathan Whitmore was arrested. His empire collapsed under the weight of investigations that revealed years of corruption. The men who once controlled everything lost it all. But the story didn't end there, because this wasn't just a story about a fall from power. It was about a rise from obscurity. Samuel Carter became a symbol overnight. The man no one noticed had saved a life everyone thought was beyond saving. He didn't ask for money or fame. When reporters asked why he spoke up, he said it was because someone once treated him like he mattered. And that had been enough. Eleanor never forgot him. Once she recovered, she made sure Samuel's life changed as dramatically as hers had. She funded programs for sanitation workers, created legal protections for whistleblowers, and insisted Samuel sit beside her at public events, not as a token, but as an equal. She made it clear that the world only changes when ordinary people choose courage over silence. Years later, the chapel where the funeral was meant to end a life became known for something else. It became a symbol of truth interrupting lies. Of humanity interrupting greed. Of a garbage collector interrupting a billionaire's plan. If this story is already stirring something inside you, please remember to comment just before the ending and share what this story made you feel, because your words might be the courage someone else needs today. Eleanor often said her second chance at life wasn't a miracle. It was a reminder. A reminder that goodness leaves traces. That kindness echoes longer than power. And that no matter how small you think you are, you might be the only one willing to stand up when it matters most. And now, as this story comes to a close, if it touched your heart, moved you, or reminded you that humanity still exists in unexpected places, please like the video, share it, and engage with the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach more people who need hope, faith, and the courage to believe that even in a world ruled by billionaires, a single brave soul can stop a funeral and bring someone back to life.